Yo, what is going on, you Pikachu punching Pyro? Today, gonna be playing some games with Urshifu VMAX, but almost the goal of this deck isn't to be trying to be playing Urshifu VMAX. The goal of this deck is to figure out what deck works best with Cheryl. And I was playing this the other day on stream because I was like, I think Cheryl is just really, really good right now. I've been saying that for a while. And I think Cheryl is like one of the few cards we have in the format to not so much use as a comeback card, but help us turn around board states to get ourselves back into a winning or a winnable position. Because sometimes when you fall behind and your opponent's just ahead on damage on board, you kind of just fall apart. And there's a lot of decks right now, or majority of the format isn't one-hit KOs. You know, you're talking about your Zacian decks, Jolteon, Leafeon, Suicune. They can get the Ludicolo out right and get a big one-hit KO, but usually they're working with two-hit KOs themselves early on. So Cheryl is just really, really good right now in helping you turn around board states where your opponent kind of gets off the first hit or gets maybe you fall behind a turn and they just get that extra damage in play. You can heal your VMAXs and go from there. But not every deck works super well with Cheryl. Stuff like Dragon Ball doesn't work really well. Stuff like Jolteon does. But I was trying to figure out what is the best deck to run Cheryl with. And I kind of had a throwback to the Cincino Urshifu deck that Torton Pedro played for Players Cup 3, where Cheryl was such a powerful and impactful card in that deck. And I was like, okay, let's just throw this together the other day on stream. And by the way, if you don't check out the stream, you should. First link in the description, twitch.tv/Azul. I stream every day except Tuesdays and sometimes another day, but I usually stream like 5 or 6 days a week. So go check out the stream. You're missing a ton of PTCGO action over there. Like I said, first link in the description. Back to the deck, and it was working really well. Obviously, Urshifu is not in the greatest spot, so maybe this isn't the best card to be trying to combo with Cheryl or like aggressively combo with Cheryl. As you can see, we have 3 Cheryl in here and a Palpad, so we could Cheryl a lot if we wanted to. And this might be a little bit excessive because if we Cheryl just like once or twice and in a matchup where we're not getting one-hit KO'd, we're probably winning. So the Palpad might be a little bit unnecessary, to be honest. But I have it in there for now, especially because we only play like one boss. But boss also might be unnecessary in this deck. But yeah, just trying to make Cheryl work as effectively and as efficiently as possible. Urshifu is a great partner. That's why we got this list. That's why we're going to be playing some games with this today. Is it the best partner? I don't know. I just think Cheryl is ridiculously good, and I put this together the other day, but there's still so many other decks to try out with Cheryl. Jolteon, of course, is very, very good with Cheryl. But I want to do something different. Like, that's known and that works. But I was like, all right, maybe is there something else that works better or as good with Cheryl? So Urshifu, of course, combo's great with it, and it was still flowing really good like it used to. So I was like, this works. Definitely gonna be trying out other decks with Cheryl. Some other things about this list and this deck specifically, we're definitely looking to potentially 2-hit KO VMAXs. We're not as reliant or as focused on the G-Max Rapid Flow. When we get there and it works, it's great, but we're a little bit more focused on the Gale Thrust and 2-hit KOing our opponent's VMAXs, or even 3-hit KOing them. And we have, you know, Gale Thrust is 150. Most VMAXs these days, you know, they got like the 110, 120, 130, whatever HP, so we can hit him for 150 with Gale Thrust twice, and then we got 2 Zigzagoons in here with 4 Scoop Up Nets to kind of make up that extra damage. And if they make their way to the bench and we can set up the G-Max Rapid Flow, we could have like Gale Thrusted a Leafeon for 150, makes its way to the bench, then we can go G-Max Rapid Flow plus Passimian for another 150, plus a Goon Ping knocks something like a Leafeon out. So we got the Passimian in here as well to kind of keep that 150s flowing onto the onto our opponent's Pokemon. I got a Punkaboo in here because up against a Leafeon the other day, it was kind of annoying to have to deal with the Galarian Mine. So I got a Punkaboo in here for that matchup pretty much specifically. There's no other real matchup where the Punkaboo's great. 4-4 Encino line, of course, to help us go through our deck, find the Cheryls, keep chaining those, keep the healing flowing. And then once Snorlax for the early game setup, can easily move that, of course, with the Scoop Up Nets later on. And then we got Bird Keepers and Marnies for the draw supporters. Usual suspects for the Pokemon search, Quick Balls, Level Balls, Evolution. We're not playing Inteleon, but basically the same Pokemon search engine there. And then we got the 4 Rapid Strike energy, 2 basic energy, and then we have a couple Capture energy. We're a little bit slower, so we don't even need to be attacking by turn 2 most of the time. We can kind of be content with attacking on turn 3 pretty often. But the Capture energy are super nice to help us set up early on, get those extra basics out there, especially the Cincinos or the Mincinos to become Cincinos, get that flowing, get that moving as well. And that's basically the list. I don't really have too much else to say, so let's go ahead and get into some games. Hopefully we dodge some of the bad matchups that Urshifu does have, or if we do hit them, maybe we can overcome them and get some dubs. Let's get into it. Here we go. Our opening hand is not great. It's a pretty rough one. We do have the Capture energy, so we could go find, I mean, we kind of need to find Snorlax. I don't want to go find Snorlax, but our opponent did mulligan, so maybe that'll kind of bail us out of this a little bit and help us find something a little bit more useful. They are playing Single Strike, which they can 1-hit KO us with that big dude. That's a good top deck. With the, you know, the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX, but we can do stuff like G-Max Rapid Flow on their Houndooms and KO those, like KO 2 Houndooms. And we do play pretty heavy Zigzagoons. So even though they got that 130 HP, we can go like KO double Houndoom and stuff like that pretty easily, actually. So that's something we can look forward to doing. A great top deck in the quick ball. Bench the Urshifu, capture out a Snorlax's prized. So that's pretty sad. I feel like the Palpat is probably not going to be too great in this matchup. It's probably going to be a little bit too fast for it. So we're going to go ahead and grab another Mincino. And then, yeah, Snorlax's prized. That's pretty rough. Snorlax is such a great Pokemon for us to use early on to set up. It's not here for us in this early game, unfortunately. So we're going to have to go with just another Mincino, which hopefully ends up working out just fine. Definitely could consider playing 2 Snorlax in here. I do play 2 Snorlax in like my Leonzard deck for a similar reason. We use it pretty consistently in the early game. And so pricing it just kind of can hurt a ton. There are games where we don't use it, though. I feel like we use it less in this deck than the Leonzard, so it makes a little bit more sense in like my Leonzard build to play the double Snorlax, because pretty much every single game we try and use Snorlax. This deck, there are some games where we just like open up with a Marnie or something, or just have like a pretty clean turn 2 Gale Thrust, and we're not too concerned with trying to also get everything else going as well. So not essential, but it definitely hurts a little bit here to not have it. That is for sure. We're gonna have to figure out this make do situation on the next turn as well. But I mean, they got double Houndoom set up. We could just look for if we could try and get off a G-Max Rapid Flow. I mean, we need the V-Max, we need an energy, but definitely gettable. And then a couple Goon Pinks. We have the Goon here initially, so we just need a Scoop Up Net. KO double Houndoom, just kind of remove that option from play for my opponent, would be a good play next turn if we can make that happen. We'll see. See if we can make that work. It's also possible my opponent actually knocks out my Urshifu V. They could get triple single strike energy into play here. They are searching out 2 right now with Houndoom, though, which will reduce the chances of them drawing into 1. So I'm not as scared of it anymore, of the play. Pretty likely that my active gets knocked out, but I'm not as worried or concerned that they'll get that play of, or get the play of knock out my Urshifu V, because they'll need to draw into a single strike energy alongside an Umbreon VMAX. If they can't pull that off, then we're in a pretty good spot. And there comes a capture energy, so no single strike energy. So they probably should have researched first and then used single strike roar later, because it's super unlikely they draw into 3 or 4 single strike energy. So they're probably going to be in a pretty safe spot if they had played it the other way there. But we'll take that edge if we can get it. And we can actually knock out this next turn instead. If they just go for like a Moonlight Blade or a Mean Look here, just knock out the Zigzagoon, we can actually just go Gale Thrust plus a Zigzagoon Ping to knock out this Umbreon V. Now, we still need the VMAX, we still need the energy. Actually, if we get a Rapid Strike energy, we could just do it with 100 Furious Blows as well. We don't even need the VMAX potentially. So there's that line of play as well. See what my opponent does. They don't have to knock out my Zigzagoon. They actually give up one of their single strike VMAXs there. Evolution Incense. So it looks like the Umbreon is out. The question is just like, what are they going to go after here? They have a couple different options. Probably going to go chase a Mincino, though, if I had to guess. No, just going to go for a punch on my Urshifu. All right, I don't hate it, though. Makes sense. Hit it for 200. That's pretty good when I don't have a backup attacker set up, for sure. We did top deck the Rapid Strike energy. Going to go ahead and make do one of these air balloons, and then we'll see what we get and what we can do. Okay, so I think Rapid Strike energy, the active, and then play the Marnie is going to be the play here from me. And then we're probably just going to hit the active here. We'll see what else we draw into. Hoping to get another Urshifu V. Another Cincino would be great. Did get another Cincino. Did get the Pumpkaboo. It's going to be really hard for me to actually, like, mess with their stadium that much. I could actually grab a Mincino here and then net over the Cincino instead. And I think I'm going to go this route because it leaves me with more Mincinos in play for the next turn to have more Cincinos potentially set up on the next turn. So I think it makes a little bit of sense. Got the Ursh, which is a big deal. And then, yeah, now we have 2 Mincinos in play to work with. And we can just go with that 100 Furious Blows for 150. And now it really has to come down to, yeah, where does the game go from here? Which we're going to find out soon, I assume. Once again, we're still not in a ridiculously good spot. But we're hanging in there for sure. We got 120 damage on this Umbreon VMAX. Ursh on the back line. This was a big deal to hit this Urshifu. If we can just make this a VMAX, get in there, knock this thing out, I think we'll be in a pretty good spot on the next turn. I'm assuming my active gets knocked out here. I guess it is very possible my opponent goes down the route of maybe playing a boss and knocking out this Urshifu instead. That'd be a pretty clean play as well for my opponent. So they might go with something like that. but we see the single strike energy here is actually put on the Houndour. So it looks like they plan to go with a bite for the knockout here, and just kind of retreat this or switch this to the bench. I like this play from my opponent. Pretty heads up, just to be like, well, give him just 1 prize card for the turn instead of 3. Of course, then you're committing this energy to this Houndour, though. Now they're going to be that much further away from setting up the Urshifu VMAX. So if they just attack with the Umbreon here, be like, okay, they get to KO my Umbreon next turn, I'm just going to be fine with that. And then they just go down the route of, you know, setting up the VMAX up so that way they can 1-hit KO my VMAX with their VMAX when that comes around. I don't hate that play as well, though, if my opponent had gone that route. I think that would also have been pretty solid choice to just be like, okay, we're trying to get this VMAX online to deal with, you know, my VMAX. And they're actually going with a hard retreat. I kind of assumed they would have a switch here. So yeah, they lose a lot of energy on this. This isn't really as viable of an attacker anymore as well. So this puts us in a pretty good spot. We could even energy assist for the KO here, which I think is definitely what we want to try and line up. I'm going to send up this Encino initially, see what we draw. But yeah, energy assist knockout here is something we can do. I also don't mind just using a VMAX as well, but we're going to send up this initially, do a make do, see what we get. We drew into another Encino, so we're definitely going to make do the Cheryl here. We still got up on a couple in the deck, and we shouldn't need more than like 2 of them to potentially close out this game. Bird keep into the Ursh. Net, ping. Okay, so we're going to bird keep into the Ursh here, I think, for sure. Get more options to make do away, because I like all these cards. These are all very good cards. Drew into some more very good cards. I'm going to go ahead and play a level ball. We could set up a quad Cincino line, but I think that's a little bit unreasonable and a little bit unlikely. So I'm going to go ahead and thin out part of the Cincino line and then make do it. Not going to play the quick ball quite yet, or the Evolution Incense, because I wouldn't mind drawing into... Yeah, there we go. Now that we've drawn into some more stuff, going to go ahead and grab the Emax. Got this other Urshifu for the bench. Going to make do this quick ball. Just leave the Evolution Instance around to get that next turn. And then we're going to net, ping, and then we will just Gale Thrust for the knockout here. Only doing that 30 damage because we sent it up before we made it into a VMAX, so we got to net that goon there. But I don't really mind. There's a Cheryl. The Cheryl is a super sick hit because, you know, if they're going to hit this Urshifu, I doubt they'll be able to 1-hit KO it. It is possible that they can get the 1-hit KO, but if they do get the 1-hit KO, they're not going to be doing a whole ton of damage next turn. So they do have, you know, double Houndoom out here. They do need triple single strike energy on this Urshifu V, so they'd have to get, you know, an Urn. They're already down to Urn, so they'd have to get an Urn to double single strike roar, and then also draw into a single strike energy to actually KO this Urshifu this turn. And if they don't do that, and then they just hit us, and then we can probably Cheryl. Oh, but there is a Tool Jammer, so that is going to shut off our air balloons, which is really annoying actually. So now we might have to go with like a Gmax Rapid Flow, and we can just like hit this. And maybe hit something else. Here comes a Marnie, so we lose the Cheryl. Maybe we get closer to our Tool Scrapper, though. If we get that Tool Scrapper, I mean, that's pretty good. That removes the Tool Jammer, puts our air balloons back online, which is a pretty big part. We actually drew back into a Cheryl here, and now we're theoretically closer to the Tool Scrapper if it's not prized. To be honest, I have no clue if it's prized or not. And the big question here for them is just, do they find that Urn? Like I said, they're down to Urn, 2 single strike, and it is just a laser focus. Okay, so Gmax Rapid Flow is a great option this turn. We'll see what we get. There's the energy for the Gmax Rapid Flow. We do have a Mencino left in the deck, I believe. But I mean, I don't need... I'm going to go with Gmax Rapid Flow. I think I can play this, thin this out. We have 2 nets left. Tool Scrapper is in the deck, so that's good to take note of. They probably only play 1 Tool Jammer. I feel like I only usually ever see 1 Tool Jammer in these decks. And I don't want to play the Marnie this turn, even though it would draw me more cards. My opponent didn't find Urn, so it's possible if I Marnie them, all of a sudden that helps them find Urn. We don't want to help them find Urn, so we're not going to. Evolve here. And I could just Gmax Rapid Flow, so I can just like take out this, draw 3 prize cards, and then just hit the Umbreon, and we win with Boss next turn. Feels pretty good to me. Yeah. Also hit the active is what I'm thinking as well. Just hit the active and be like, all right, you're set up. Because I can just VMAX this thing as well. So if I had room for Passimian this turn, I would maybe definitely hit the Umbreon for 150, because then I can Gmax Rapid Flow again later on, maybe. I don't want to use my boss as my only boss. So Gmax Rapid Flow, we're going to knock out the Umbreon, like I said. I think maybe just hit the active. Maybe just hit the active here. I'm actually not sold on any line of play right here. We could have actually also hit... Okay, so we could have actually hit a Houndoom for... You know what we should have done? We should have hit a Houndoom for 120. And then if they ever get a knockout, we have room for the Goon, or if we get Net, Goon, Ping, Air Balloon, Tool Scrapper, Away the Jammer, Retreat, Boss, Energy, which is not even that hard for us to get next turn because we see 7 of our 15 cards left in the deck. So I should have actually just hit one of these for 120 and then plan to go Goon, Ping, knockout, Boss, knockout on the following turn. That was the play. Yeah, that was definitely the play for sure, for sure. We can still make a similar play next turn where we go with like a Gale Thrust, knockout a Houndoom to stop them from setting up too many energy on the following turn, and then G-Max Rapid Flow plus Goon Ping after that. Excuse my sneeze. A G-Max Rapid Flow plus Goon Ping after that to get the last prize card. And because we knock out one of these Houndooms, if they do get a one-hit KO here, which it is possible, they need a lot. I think they still need... They need to draw into that last single strike energy. For them to set up another attacker is going to be pretty tough. One of the things I guess I have to be a little bit worried about is if I do Scrapper this, they could put the Scroll on here instead, which would be... I mean, that wouldn't be great. We don't want to put the Scroll on here, then all of a sudden have a knockout option. So we definitely don't want a Tool Scrapper. There's a Marnie. I don't have an Energy anymore, but we still have 2 Rapid Strike energy in the deck, and we do need to find a switch card anyway, so maybe this will get us the switch card. Gets us the energy, gets us the switch card in the Scoop Up Net. So we have the knockout on the active here for sure. Oh, actually, unless they don't KO my active here, which actually they don't. So now we don't have the knockout quite yet. We need a little bit more. Let's get rid of this. We do need an Air Balloon, which I don't believe was in the last hand. Got the Air Balloon, got the Tool Scrapper, and then we got the Rapid Strike energy, and we're going to get the dub here over Single Strike with the Rapid Strike Cincino build. We didn't Cheryl this game, but we didn't really have to. They had kind of had a slow follow-up after that Umbreon and didn't really get damage in play until this turn where we could have Cheryled, but instead we won the game. All right, here we go. Going first in this one. Ooh, a pretty good opening hand as well. Got Snorlax and the Urshifu V Snorlax start, which is pretty insane. And then we got the Urshifu V with a capture to get a Mincino out. And then we get to Cincino and so on from there. The question is, what is my opponent playing and how scared are we? I could just Snorlax for just 2, and I think I will here. Any cards is pretty helpful. Have a turn 2 G-Max Rapid Flow we can go with. Have a Quick Ball as well that we can use. We do not have any out to any kind of draw support, which of course is not great, but just taking 2 prize cards off the rip might not be terrible. Here comes a Quick Ball for my opponent to get rid of a Water Energy. So we could just play this slower as well next turn. We'll see what my opponent is actually playing, and we might just choose to play it slower. It is a Suicune deck, so I wouldn't mind playing it a little bit slower, especially if they don't get out a Lotad, which will be a big deal, because that really is going to be one of the like ways they get to do a lot of damage is do they have the if they have the Lotad in play, they can do a lot of damage. If they don't have the Lotad, they're pretty limited on their damage. So yeah, we'll decide where we want to go from here. If we topic something like a, I don't know, you know, some kind of draw. So if we topic a Marnie or a Bird Keeper, we're gonna be a little bit more inclined to go with the Urshifu route because we'll probably be able to draw more cards. There's an Evolution Incense, so this kind of gets us going with this Cincino route. And go ahead and make do away. To be honest, now I'm tempted to just kind of be a little bit more, so we can pick up the Snorlax and make do the Snorlax. Make do the Lax. And then Quick Ball, Goon, grab another Foo or another Mincino, and I'm leaning towards. Now I'm kind of leaning towards Foo. At first I was leaning towards Mincino, but now I'm leaning towards the Foo. All right, let's go with the Foo. I'm actually not too sure on that because like this means it might be a little bit easier for us to get an attack off next turn. But we could get like a Bird Keeper, Air Balloon, Retreat plus Net plus Cheryl, and that would also work. So maybe should have gone with the what's called. But I think they're just not going to be hitting us very hard this turn. So that means we don't really need to use Cheryl this turn. We'd probably be looking to use Cheryl on the next turn because like we only have 2 bench Pokemon. Just took out 2 of their bench Pokemon. They don't have the option of a Ludicolo hit this turn or anything like that. So I'm not too scared of what they can dish out this turn. So we can just get like an Air Balloon plus an Evolve and an Energy. And even if we don't even attack this turn, it wouldn't be the end of the world, to be honest. If we just got like a Capture Energy in play, to be honest, so like set up for another G-Max Rapid Flow, I think it would still leave us in a pretty good spot. So I'm not too concerned with even attacking this turn. Our turn 2 is so good there that I think we can survive just like not attacking this turn for sure. But we'll see what my opponent is able to throw together. It looks like they're going to whiff the attack here and have to go Capture Energy out a Lotad. Now this isn't the worst thing ever for my opponent actually, because like the little bit of damage they would have done, they would probably have had to 3-hit KO me anyways. So Now they still have to, you know, now they'll 2-hit KO me between next turn and coming up turn. So it's really not that big of a deal, I think, on my opponent's side either that they whiffed here. I'm sure they would have liked to have not whiffed, but not the end of the world, I don't think, in the end. Go to this quick ball. Definitely want to put some more Mincinos down. Mincino. And then I think we're passing here. If they don't really have anything else to do. So go ahead, opponent. Let's see what you got. I'm not feeling like we're in too much trouble here. There's that Melanie finally, though. So they're attacking here for sure. Yeah, and here comes the squad. Drizzle's out. Gonna be hitting up some make do's next turn. We need to find an attack at the very least. We don't have to G-Max Rapid Flow, even though we have it set up. So it'd be great if we draw into like a switch card and we can G-Max Rapid Flow, get rid of another Drizzle, get rid of a Lotad. That'd be sick. That'd be super good for us. Not against it. Not against drawing into it. Kind of have to draw into it though. So that'll be the challenge here. Can we draw into it? So it'd be great if we get it. If we don't, not the end of the world. If we just get like a Gale Thrust this turn, I would be happy with that. Get the Rondo in there for 160. Start thinning out the deck a little bit here. I don't think Passimian adds a whole ton to our game plans. We don't need Punkaboo in this matchup, so grab that. Make do Punkaboo. Or if we do, I'm about to find out why we do. But I'm pretty sure it's not necessary in this matchup at all. Get another Cincino. I'm going to go ahead and make do away this Mincino. We don't really need to set up 4 of these things. Especially if our opponent hasn't focused them down early. Because now if my opponent starts going for the focus on them, we'd be a little bit too far ahead for it to matter, I think. And we got literally everything. What an absurd draw. We got the Cheryl, the Air Balloon, and the G-Max Rapid Flow on the Lotad and the Drizzle again. Literally a perfect draw. I have nothing else to say. That's literally a perfect draw. We literally just drew perfectly there. I guess this could have been something else we could have put into play. Maybe. I don't know. That was kind of insane. I don't think we can lose at this point. 2 prize cards left. No damage on our board. Cheryl making sure we're fully healed. I was going to be like, okay, if we just Gale Thrust, even if this thing stays with damage on play, that's like a good enough turn for me. We just get a Gale Thrust off, even if we don't find the Cheryl this turn, and we found the Cheryl, we found the Rapid Strike energy, we got the Air Balloon. We literally couldn't whiff there, and now I think this one is basically closed out. Not quite. We might not be able to attack next turn. We could definitely whiff the attack, but we're going to see a lot of cards, even out of the current hand. We're going to have triple Cincino. So that's 7 cards. We're going to see our top deck plus 6 at the very least, unless we top deck a Cincino, and that would be kind of the worst top deck here would be like a Cincino, because that's like a card that we already are guaranteed to see through the Evolution Incense. So our top deck is a boss, so now we can just go Evolution Incense first and that out because we don't want to draw into it, and we also have a target for a make do in this capture energy. Don't really need to play that anymore. Move that along. Another Cincino. I still have my Pal Pad left, I believe. I think we're going to go ahead and make do the Marnie because I don't really want to get rid of energy, but make do the Ursh. So we haven't really drawn what we've been looking for, to be honest, but can still hit an Air Balloon. 19 cards left in the deck. Catch a basic energy. Play the Marnie. Do we hit the Air Balloon? That's the question. Let's find out. No Air Balloon. All right, so we hit everything last turn. Trade-off, not as much this turn. Still in a really good spot and have access to a G-Max Rapid Flow next turn. So if my opponent puts down like another Sobble or something, can go ahead and remove that from play. I think I'm going to burn these Evolution Incense right now because I don't really need them. If my opponent's going to Marnie me, I don't want to draw into either of these evolutions either. So pass over to my opponent. Oh, so we got everything last turn. Did whiff this, or we didn't whiff everything this turn, though. We still got the energy in play. We moved through our deck quite a bit as well, which means our make do's are going to be that much better on the following turn. We'll have that many less cards left in our deck. We thinned out a bunch of cards. We're still kind of going through the deck, and we're not in a position where we just like lose next turn. So we're definitely just like kind of fine. Excuse me. In this situation overall, we got, like I said, we got the G-Max Rapid Flow set up as well. So they can't, I mean, they could risk it, right? And maybe they have to. Maybe they have to be like, well, I just need Sobble down, or I need Lotad down to give myself a shot to win, which is very possible. So we might see my opponent actually put down something like some Sobbles or Lotad or whatever, and then we just get the win on the next turn with that G-Max Rapid Flow. So let's see if we go that. Let's see if they go that route, because they're definitely gonna be a little bit hard pressed to win the game, I think, without putting anything else down. But they might attempt to try and make that work. I have to see them coming with this Marnie here. They haven't benched anything yet. Draw still no Air Balloon. We know there's no air balloon on the bottom of the deck as well, so we're going to start doing our make dues first. We're not going to play this level ball. They're just going with a weak Rondo, only another 180 damage. Make dues are coming out now. Now we're looking for like some kind of Cheryl plus air balloon play. Make do, and there's the concede. No surprise. Yeah, my opponent was going to be in a really bad spot no matter what. And yeah, it's going to do it for these games with the Urshifu deck. Like I said, I built it with the idea. I was like, what is the best possible deck to build Cheryl with, irrelevant of the meta? I think this might be it. It kind of was it in the last format. Since, you know, Urshifu with Cheryl was always really good. But Cheryl, of course, is good in stuff like Jolteon, and that might just be the best way to play Cheryl, is the Jolteon VMAX type kind of deck. I don't know. But I've been loving the deck so far. It's got a bunch of tough matchups in the meta. Don't expect it to be, you know, be able to beat everything. There's a lot of psychic decks out there right now. You can beat Dragapult. The other ones are a little bit more tough, like the Sylveons and the Shadow Riders. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you're new here and you're enjoying the content, be sure to subscribe. See you tomorrow.